Next on deck with Tim Black.
After sitting on his hands intentionally for 3.5 years and letting in the largest amount of illegal immigration in this nation's history. And we got Black Americans sitting on a panel defending that. So back to the deportations. Let's listen to them make this big whoop-de-doo. It's all political, man. It's posturing. That's all it is. I wonder what's in those coffee cups. Blood of black babies. Might as well be.
Well, that's actually offensive, number one. Let's not compare President Trump to Castro regime,
when you're
number one.
deporting people without a process.
That's going to be very bad for you when you go back to Florida and you got to face your constituents.
Very
trying
confident
to compare
that
Trump
my constituents
to Castro.
don't want people deported without a lawful process.
Okay. First of all, was the guy here legally?
Cuba.
Was he here legally?
He was.
He was here legally.
Yes.
Okay, so you had one individual. If
Who
he
is
was
now
here
in an
legally,
El
I don't know what his
prison.
status is. If it was a mistake, think about all the mistakes that the Biden administration made. That they'd made, allowed millions of people to come into this country unvetted, and that ended up killing. We had rape. We had all sorts of crime, drug trafficking, Lake and Riley. No.
But Congresswoman,
these are people that Joe Biden let in through his policies.
They were rounded up.
And you're going to criticize the mistake of somebody who is deported?
Respectfully, that is the definition of gaslighting. Because what we're saying is all five of us on this set tonight can look you in the eye and say that if you committed any of those crimes, then you should be deported immediately. You should serve your sentence and go home immediately.
Yes, but they were let in.
That's
the bottom line. You're more concerned about the one guy that was deported than the millions of people that were let in illegally that went on to wreak havoc in cities like mine.
First of all, I would love an argument that I would love an argument that wasn't subject verb Joe Biden. That's first. Second,
well, I mean, he's the one who let him in. What do you want me to do?
Second, what we need here is an immigration process.
You know, Bakari didn't say shit when Biden was letting all those people in the country. You know, it happened over a 3.5 year period. You didn't tell me this guy didn't know that was going on. He didn't give a shit. He didn't care. He's a bought and paid for sellout of the Democratic Party, of the regime. That's all he is. And now he's got a whole lot to say because some of the people that Joe Biden let in, Trump's letting them out or putting them out. And I said, if you deport somebody and they were legally here, or you deport somebody, particularly to the El Salvadorian prison, to a country they never even lived in, Jesus Christ, ay caramba. Well, that's very much unfortunate. That should not have happened. And they need to fix whatever system that allowed that major screw up to happen. But if I'm going to feel bad for someone, I'm going to start here in America. With all the blacks who are hunted constantly to help fuel the BS towns in the local jurisdiction that hunt them like gazelles, like wildebeest hunting gazelles in their Serengeti, to fund their shitty towns like they did in Ferguson and in so many other towns across this country. You ever been to Bourbon Heights? You ever been to Greenbelt, Maryland, and all the little shitty towns, Edmonston, all these little shitty towns in Maryland that have cops just post up waiting to see a black kid or a young black man wearing a baseball cap or fitted. You know, just waiting to pull them over. Any type of car that doesn't look brand new off the lot. So this is what happens. And you know how many of those people that they pull over end up in a system for whatever stupid little thing, can't make bail, end up separated from their families. So we're going to play this. What I detest is sanctimonious jackasses like Bakari, dwellers, who's going to make a big show of it for immigrants. He doesn't do that for Americans, and I just laid it out for you, man. This happens all the time. Hell, you know how many poor folks, you know how many white folks, black folks, Latino folks, Asian folks, American citizens who pay into this system, who can't make bail, who are sitting, hell, man, like 70% of the people in jail haven't been convicted of anything in America. We need to put them through due process, as if our process is any good. Like, I hear you talking. We need to put them through the due process. We got to give them the due process. Really? You mean a process where people basically strangled and choked, have a revolver put to their head and spun it and said, hey, you need to take this plea bargain, cop this, cop out, or get max time. You're feeling lucky, punk? That's our process. I mean, for us, that's the process. It's just so obviously that these people are batting for the other side. It's just so obvious. And when I say side, I don't mean Republicans or Democrats. I mean, not us. You know, whatever the elites want, whatever the powerful people want, whatever the people that run this god-awful system want, those are the people that they're batting for, not us. Okay?
Where we have, I think it's 4 million people who've already been adjudicated, slightly less than 4 million people who we can round up and deport today. Those people who committed crimes. That's second. Third, being in this country legally, you know what? It's not a crime. You know who said that? The United States Supreme Court. There has to be a due process element to this. There simply does. And so for individuals like this gentleman right here, who's a father, I'm not going to sit here and die on a hill and say whether or not he was MS-13 or not. I'm not trying to be on Fox News or Fox and 5 in the morning because I simply don't know the answer to that question. But what I will say is that he deserved a right of due.
Being in the country without going through the proper steps, being here unlawfully present in this country is not a crime, but it is a civil violation that can lead to deportation, but not criminal prosecution. You don't get prosecuted, you get deported. I don't know if there's a distinction without a difference or not. But I feel like it is because you can deport somebody for being here illegally. They are here illegally. They are here illegally. How many years do you go to jail? If that's what you mean, there's no statutory length of time for the first time that you're caught here being illegally here or unlawfully present. And that distinction doesn't automatically resolve the problems that we have with the immigration issue either, Bakari Sellers. All it does is exacerbate a problem that's been growing. And I fought the Supreme Court for that stupid statement because it is stupid.
Process so that we can properly adjudicate that. But I'm not going to let you gaslight me or the rest of this audience. I'm not done. I'm going to finish this sentence and say that I'm sitting here advocating for people.
So hold on one second, because I do think I want to settle us on the actual issue here, because I think what he's asking, I don't think it takes anything away from what you're saying, that people who are criminals should be kicked out of the country. But why does that have to happen without due process?
Well, what I'm trying to say.
I want to ask a question. What kind of process do you think is supposed to happen? What's the process that's supposed to happen here? What process are you looking for them to get? I mean, I wish I could ask her what would you deem the process that we should take? Will they go to court? You mean the people that are supposed to go to court to begin with? Like, I don't understand exactly what you mean. You know, if you come to most of the people that come to this country to here illegally were given the time to come to a court to determine if they're going to get amnesty. Right? That's whole purpose, right? They got to have a reason for coming here. Right? So if you come in with a reason of going to amnesty, then you get your date. And that's how Biden got, this is how we got here. Instead of Biden saying, okay, you came, you applied, we got your paperwork, we'll be in touch. Instead of saying, go back to Mexico and wait until you find out your date to come to court, Biden let them stay in America and wait. And that wait time could be 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Who knows how long that's going to be. So when they're talking about the immigration system is broke, folks, that's what they're referring to, is that. But see, the difference between Biden and Trump was one simple thing, which was he had wait in Mexico. Okay, you come here, you apply for amnesty. You apply, we got your paperwork. Go back to Mexico and we'll let you know when your trial date is so that you can return and go to trial. That changed, that made a humongous difference.
Is these guys are so outraged that one individual, whether he's here legally or not, we don't even know. Yes, it was a mistake, and it's terrible. If he was here legally and he was deported, that was wrong, and it was a mistake.
None of
them.
But
look at all the people that were allowed to come in under the previous administration that were wreaking havoc in my city. I'm sorry, we had a murderer from Dominican Republic that was caught. You had another murderer in upstate New York that was caught on the street, walking around freely. We had drug traffickers, gang members.
None of them care because none of their family's been touched by any of it. But if your family is touched by any of it, you feel different. That's it. Case closed, face closed. They don't care because it's not them. As long as it's not them, it's not their family, no one that they love. It's a foreign thing. It's a foreign. We need somebody to, they're still saying that dumb shit. We need somebody to pick the fruit. You know, there are machines to pick fruit, Goofy. Get a YouTube account and go to YouTube. Hell, you don't even need an account. You be a visitor. Go see the machine knock the apples into the thing, dummy.
All sorts of stuff.
I don't know that this is a degree of outrage that is like greater than the outrage about those things. Because I do think that the question that is being asked here is whether there is a systematic effort to evade due process, which is, I mean, if you think about it, right, there are crimes that are committed. There's a process for convicting people and kicking them out. The Constitution allows people to have due process. And when you throw that out the window, then suddenly you're undermining more than just the statute. You're undermining the Constitution.
I wonder if you're undermining the safety of American citizens by having people in this country, and by the millions who haven't gone through any vetting process. And I wonder, why aren't you concerned about that? But I'm gonna go ahead and leave it to the Tim Black Wolfpack to have their say about it, man. I know there's gonna be a lot of different opinions about it. Hey, look, man. Hey, I'm advocating for Black America, and I can tell you right now, I don't find this helpful. The immigration policy that was adopted by the Biden administration that Democrats were silent about, that 99% of Democrats were silent about. And 100% of corporate media liberals were silent about for 3.5 years. And when they did start talking about it, was only to throw Donald Trump under the bus and blame him for the Hail Mary of legislation that Biden tried to pass at the bottom of the ninth, at the top of the ninth inning to save his run or his prospects of a run for re-election. After sitting on his hands intentionally for 3.5 years. And letting in the largest amount of illegal immigration in this nation's history. And we got Black Americans sitting on a panel defending that. People get swept up in drug raids and seizures and stuff, all types of stuff all the time from out of the police departments. Yeah, I used to believe all this ICE boogeyman stuff too. I used to believe it. Then I started looking at start comparing ICE to regular police. It's like, about the same. You know? It's just, there are people with a battery in their back for some reason, about halting deportations, who are not as enthused about halting like regular Americans getting locked up. It's just something that I can't abide it, man. I can't sit back and just let that be. I just can't do it. America's number one thing it's good at is locking up Americans. Not deporting people and not locking up people. Locking up foreign nationals. We are good at locking up American citizens. We do it better than any other country in the Western world. We're real good at that. You know the deal. Independent Black media stays unapologetic, raw, and real. Now you can wear the movement. From the Tim Black Wolfpack to the Cornbread Collection. We got gear for the real ones. For men, women, even the little ones. No weak threads, no weak messages. Rep the truth. Rep the movement. Hit up timblackpauls.com and grab yours today. Because cornbread ain't free. Wolfpack. Perfect. You made it to the end of the video. I appreciate you. Now, Google thinks this next video is going to be perfect for you. It's right up your alley. So click the next video, watch that with me, and let's keep this politics going. You're built for this.